Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening, good morning, wherever you are. It doesn't really matter. I'm here today with Big Drop. My name's Melissa Cole. I'm a beer writer, beer expert, and I was lucky enough to collaborate on this project. So this is World Series Collab 2. So I'm just going to introduce everybody. For me, it's around my screen because, of course, we can't be with people at the moment. So I'm going to start with Rob in the top left-hand corner. This is like
Hello, everybody.
Squares. So Rob is one of the founders of Big Drop, and then we've got Johnny, who's the brewer, who's sitting there looking confused that he's actually been called on. Johnny, you're in the call, man. You're in the call. And then we have James as well. So James is one of the other co-founders of Big Drop. So how are we doing, guys? You all right?
All good, thank you.
I'm all right.
It's nice to see your faces.
No, this weird new normal's getting boring now, but
I'm up for. Well, apparently lockdown is the new going out, but I am quite looking forward to going back to going out. But for now, this will do.
Yeah, I think you can take that whole new thing a little bit too far.
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty much over it now.
Yeah, I'm totally over it. Anyway, I would give my right arm to go down the pub and have a pint, but we can't. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about first, actually, with you, Rob, obviously one of the things that a lot of us are trying to keep a bit of a handle on in this whole something show is that we're all trying to keep a bit of a handle on not drinking too much, which is incredibly easy to do when the nights are dark, everything's miserable, and you can't go down the pub.
I am as guilty as the next man. People often ask me, "Oh, right, Big Drop. Yes, you don't drink alcohol." Then it's like, "Oh, no, I very much do." Yes, in the run up to Christmas and Christmas, with lockdown especially, yes, I was tipping the scales, shall we say, over and above the government's recommended unit allowance. But that's happily where we Big Drop will sometimes ride to the rescue.
Excellent. I mean, it's one of the reasons why you set up the company, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was. Back in the day, I was a lawyer trawling the bars of the City of London, wining and dining, and then eventually, when I stopped for a little bit, when I had my first son, realised that there were no alcohol-free craft beers at all. It didn't exist as a thing, and so that was the genesis for Big Drop to provide alcohol-free craft beer.
And James, how did you come into all of this?
So I've known Rob for far longer than we care to remember.
We don't talk about it anymore.
I think I always bring out a hit list of stuff Rob and I have done together to kind of say how well we know each other, and I think that the pinnacle of that is that Rob actually performed my wedding ceremony.
As I like to say sometimes, I married James's wife.
He married my wife. So yeah, known Rob a long time, been in bands together, things like that. I'm a designer and a kind of ideas guy by trade, and Rob had this amazing idea for alcohol-free craft beer, and we teamed up to kind of make it happen. So Big Drop came out of kind of 20, 30 years of friendship and far too many full-strength beers. And Big Drop was made.
But there was only one problem, of course, with my genius idea, which is that neither James nor I know how to brew beer. So there was a flaw in the plan, but that's where we meet Johnny. Yeah.
I'm just going to sit back for me now. This is brilliant. Go on, crack on.
We met. I met Johnny. There was a little brewery in Bermondsey where you could brew small batches of beer on a contract basis, and I turned up and said, "Look, I've got this idea, but there is a small flaw in it, which is that I don't know how to brew beer and I don't know how to brew alcohol-free beer. Do you know anybody?" And they said, "You want to talk to that guy?" And so I went and had a chat with Johnny, and as it turns out, he's quite good at making alcohol-free craft beer, which is a bonus.
It's nice, isn't it, Johnny? So that, you can take that as your yearly appraisal. You're quite good at this.
Yeah.
That's a pay rise of all of 7 pence a week, isn't it?
Put that on the movie poster.
I feel it's nothing without the team.
I think the one thing that's always stuck with us when we went down to Rob's offices and had a kind of tasting day of what was already out there. And the start of the chat that we had, we said, yeah, okay, we want to make alcohol-free beer. And Johnny turned around and said, no, you want to make really good beer that just so happens to be alcohol-free. And that's the whole thing that makes Big Drop. Big Drop is that we're trying to make, we are making really good beer. It just so happens that really, really good award-winning alcohol-free beer is alcohol-free.
Subtle on the award-winning, by the way. Subtle.
Multi-award-winning, multi-international award-winning,
multi-platinum. I don't like to talk about it.
Just not my style.
Yeah.
So, but in all seriousness, Johnny, you absolutely hit the nail on the head there when you said that. That's always been the problem. It's felt like some sort of, I mean, certainly somebody like me who, you know, has a professional palate for this stuff is naturally blessed, or possibly in this case cursed, with a really good palate when trying these sorts of things previously. It wasn't a choice for me. I physically couldn't drink them. They made me gag. They were awful. And frankly, most of the, you know, major breweries still have not managed to get this right, which is astonishing given how much technology they have at their disposal. But you've really, you know, sort of nailed this process to get these really incredibly tasty products, which, as you say, are great beers that just not have alcohol in them. And how, without giving away the full secrets of the trade, you know, just how have you done that in the main?
You know, there's many things which are actually very similar in the brewing process. You could look at our beers and it would still be a beer recognizable to anyone if they looked at the step-by-step process. It's just a few core fundamental principles which I've just turned on the head. You know, if you want to get a fully fermentable, well attenuated beer, you do one thing. If you want something which doesn't do that, you do another thing. And it's the principles are all there. It can be worked out. It's just once you use that technique, you then have to get flavor and balance back into the product, which is the second part of it.
So for those of you who aren't up on brewers jargon, this is literally my main job here today is to translate brewers. That's actually how I've made the most of my career, is listening to brewers and then say, right, okay, so this is what they actually mean. So attenuated actually means that all of the sugars have been fermented out in a product, or as far as they can go. Now, funny enough, I was actually sitting in on a seminar with a very large yeast company yesterday on non-alcs. And I think you do yourself a disservice on the, I've just turned these things on their heads, because wow, I had to concentrate really hard. I really had to get my geek on yesterday. But also away from that, you've come up with some really fun and innovative flavours and profiles. Well, actually, sorry, we've come up with some fun and innovative. I forget that actually I had a hand in this. I've slept since then. But it does feel like a long time ago since we started planning. I mean, we started planning this a year ago, didn't we?
We did.
So,
Yeah.
so it's been a long time in the works, and obviously because we all thought we all listened to people saying it will be over by summer, we kind of tried to hang on, and eventually we just had to kind of do the stuff by Zoom. But we worked, not just you and me, we worked with the breweries to do this sort of stuff, but we had lots of really fun, just you and me, we had lots of fun conversations along the way with what might be possible and wouldn't be possible. So I learned a lot out of it, and you learned a lot about me being completely crazy with flavour combinations.
I love crazy flavour combinations. It's how I built my reputation as a brewer.
So
should
we crack into the first one?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's.
This one is hugely close to my heart, because yes, I'm sorry, I haven't. I'm doing them. I should be doing them.
You're well ahead.
Fine, I'll do box.
So there we go. I've even got a big branded glass, but it's from the summer series, which I really enjoyed, by the way, especially the poolside. The poolside was a definite favourite.
The poolside was the one that got the best feedback. Yeah, but this one. So let's talk about this one though.
So Hop Notch. Hop Notch is a brewery in Stockholm, or just outside Stockholm. Beautiful setting, just on a little island just off of Stockholm. It's owned by my good friend Jessica and her partner Mark. And actually, she's normally my roommate when I go and judge beer competitions in the US. So we actually did a collaboration, which is pretty much the other end of this, called Roommates, which is a 7.5% Hellebock Belgian wit. So, you know, why not? But however, the Swedes love elderflower, it turns out. Something I didn't even know, despite having lots of Swedish friends, including Jessica. But it turns out it's a real thing, isn't it? So that's why we've got this beautiful can.
And I think James, Jessica did her own artwork for this. Is that right?
Yeah. So what we do with each of the breweries we work with is we give them kind of most of the real estate on the can to do whatever they want with the illustration. So it gives them the ability to put their own character on it, but also kind of have some real input in the creative and the design process as well, which is why we get such a great kind of array of cans. And what you'd have seen in the first World Collab series is kind of followed through into these ones as well. So we'll hold up each can as we go through, and you'll see the real character and the style of each brewery coming through on each collab can we've done.
Yeah, very much so. So, Johnny, obviously, you don't want any scary potential fermentables in here. So use all natural flavourings for the elderflower.
Mm-hmm.
But also talk me through the Mozart hops, because they're actually a fairly new one on me.
Yeah, so they're I think they're known as CF182, which is the experimental hop name.
That's the less romantic name.
That's the Star Wars droid name of. There you go. Yeah.
Being somewhat skeptical of UK hops, coming from my background, I thought, well, you know, it's new, I'll give it a try. And I was blown away by just how much sort of grapefruit and flavour you can get out of it from just a little bit at the end of the boil. I think it's a great hop, and it's quite hard to get hold of now because it's in limited quantities. But I tried it as just a single hop experiment, and I went out to everyone and they tried it, and I think they're big fans of it as well, and said we've got to use this in something. And it's just got this grapefruity, earthy quality, which kind of comes from the UK hops as well. But combined with the elderflower, I think it just gives a real sort of kind of almost rural but fresh kind of, you know, that sort of smell from fresh rain, sort of freshness to it. And I think it just balances nicely.
The thing with elderflower is you can go way too far. It can be really catty. And the interesting thing when you take the first sip of this is you do get a little bit of that elderflower catty. But then suddenly, once you've got through to the hop part, and then you get that combination, you take the second sip, actually the symphonic nature of the two of them together really, really works. It suddenly becomes like an elderflower grapefruit spritz. That is absolutely delicious.
And then elderflower can, of course, turn to cardboard flavour. Oxidization really is as well. So that's something you really had to avoid.
Or it can just not be there.
Yeah.
It's the other problem.
Yeah, I mean, so many fruits and berries and flowers just disappear after a week or two in the tank, and it's like, well.
Or you go the other way, and I think that's what I always, whenever people ask me to describe our beers, I use it all the time, unashamedly, as a phrase, is well balanced, light versions of the style. So whatever it is that we're trying to do, the first thing is, and Johnny's alluded to already, it's getting the alcohol content. It's not the easy part, but there's that. And then the second part is making sure that the recipe, the flavors are well balanced, because without the alcohol, it can so easily get out of balance. And for me, I really like that. And it's just a well-balanced beer. And the test for me is always, if I drank that, would I want another one? And actually, yes, I would. I'd happily go back to the fridge and have another one of those.
Yeah, my main issue is that I just really like it to be sunny.
It would be very nice, yes, on a hot summer's day. Yeah.
At least you're not on a farm in a lab.
It's chilly there, darling. Is it bit of tad chilly for you there. Well, you know.
My heater.
But yeah, I really like that. I think that's a great one.
Little space heater by your feet there, is it?
Absolutely. But it's like, you know, it's something which I don't think a lot of people know, but with our beers, all the malt bills are different as well. So just to balance that flavour, I was speaking to a contract brewer the other day, and he was surprised that our malt bills were different. And it's something which really contributes to it, I think, because you have to get the right balance of colour, right balance of maltiness and the sweetness and everything. And it's just something I thought people might not be aware of, and it's very much which goes into these specials as well. It's always considered quite intently and deliberately.
Yeah, I do think that there's quite. I've experienced quite a lot of products coming onto the market which are incredibly one-dimensional, and that is problematic. And I think there's a feeling that you can just throw things at a canvas and they'll stick, which is weird because, as you say, you're just brewing a beer.
Yeah.
They do seem to. There seems to be either. I can't figure out whether it's a lack of care or a lack of thought, or both.
Yeah.
But anyway,
who are we to comment on the competition?
Yeah. See, this is why you shouldn't let me do things like this.
Far be it from me to name any brand.
Oh, no, she's off again. Yeah, I mean, obviously because of my personal connection, I would have loved for Jessica to be able to come over and do this. So cheers, honey.
Yes, thank you, Jessica.
Cheers, Jessica.
Absolutely love and adore you and miss you. And also send me my box of the collaboration that we did, please. Thank you.
I'll take some of that as well. That sounds fantastic.
Okay,
what have we got next then? What's the next one up?
So next one up, we are going with Ride Said Fred.
Oh, yes.
Now, I find this a really, really interesting moment because you guys have got it all held up there. There we go.
Yeah.
So yes, everybody else's looks really flat in comparison. The colour on this it doesn't even look that great on my camera. It looks fabulous. It's really vibrant chameleon green in real life. And this is the one that I find really sort of most fascinating in terms of the evolution of how you do things. So when we did the last World Collab series, it was for me, and I know this is brutal, and I'm going to not pull any punches. The one where we used rye and juniper was actually it wasn't the one that really worked as well as the rest of them. And I find the sort of the genesis through of learning that. Oh, clean your glassware, Mr. Clayton. Gentlemen, this is an example of not clean glassware.
I don't believe how many times I scrubbed this as well. You've got water, you've salt scrubbed it and everything.
Always gutting. Yeah, I always make sure I do now as well.
Oh, yeah, it's looking a bit better now.
There we go, that's better. So I just think that it's really, really interesting to see how this has changed. Now, working with Fat Lizard as well, they were huge amounts of fun. What lovely people, really super enthusiastic, really sort of immediately sort of buried their hands in the process, really, really great about it. And I cannot wait until we can travel again, because I haven't actually been to their brew pub restaurant, and that is so high on my list of places I want to go. I mean, the top half of the list is also now about 5,000 places strong, because I haven't been able to travel for a year. But anyway, this for me, I think this time you nailed the juiciness in terms of that sort of fruity, herby, bitey juniper thing really well, and that rye really interplaying. I think the guys at Fat Lizard had really, really strong feelings about how much the rye and juniper should come through, didn't they?
Yeah. This one, I think this might have been the one where I did most versions of out of all the the Collabs.
I was going to say, this is the one I remember getting the first one of this through and going, no, that's not a thing. That's this one. This one is a no. This one, send it back.
Cat's bum so well there. It's like
it's my homeschooling face. No, it does not equal 74.
I do like to push the envelope on certain styles.
But yeah, but what sorry, this is the most iterations, but I think this is brilliant. But anyway, sorry, Johnny, carry on.
But yeah, no, it was just finding, firstly, rye. Rye malt is, it's got all the enzymes. It's all the enzymes. It'll convert to sugar and that ferments out. So I had to find a way of getting that into the brew to start, to keep the flavour, but without the all those fermentable sugars. So nailed that eventually, and also then balancing the rye flavour with juniper, which is fun. But yeah, so various amounts, and once again the theme being sort of a light version of what's out there. So this is not a 6.5% rye IPA. It's more delicate and hopefully more balanced. And
it got punch. It really has got punch.
And it's what I did. Obviously, I'm biased. Joking aside, of course, I'm biased. But what I do love about our beers over and above, not all of the competition, but most of the competition, is that you're right. It's a lot of our beers have got punch, they've got flavour, and that I still taste it. It's in my mouth. Now it's not. It doesn't disappear. You know, there's a lot of AF beers. You drink it. Oh, that's nice, and then it's gone. And it's well, what was that about? Whereas I've still got the flavours in my mouth. It's still there. I want to take another sip, and there's a lot going on. I like the fact there's a lot going on.
It has still got that slightly drying aspect on the middle tongue that rye beers give you. That slight astringency across the middle of your palate that full-blooded ryes bring. Like one of my favourites is Bear Republic Red with Rye. It's absolutely fantastic. Red Rocket, sorry, and it's fantastic. It's absolutely wonderful, and it leaves you with a sort of a big strip of astringency across the middle of your tongue that just makes you just want to just slam back more and more. But it's quite dangerous. But and it's got that reminiscent. It's got echoes of that feeling to it. So that's really good. And also the juniper juniper's a nightmare. I hesitate to use it in cooking quite a lot because it's just such a bugger. Really good job of balancing this. And I know that you had them and that finally agreeing with Fat Lizard because they were flying back and forth. The samples, I hasten to add, not the people. So it's been interesting. This one was this one that kept you awake at night, was it?
No, just
There's
it's why you don't let brewers out. They have no sense.
That's why this is Johnny's longest outing in 4 years.
Not even allowed on social media.
There's a reason for that, and you know it.
I think we'll save that one for after we finish. So, but no, in all seriousness, so this is the one. Okay, let's put it another way, Johnny. Was this the one that presented you with the biggest challenge?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
Are we gonna? Well.
Both iterations, but not the biggest challenge. Was it just a case of getting it? You knew you were going to nail it. It was just about getting the balance.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I can give one. If you ever want to do a juniper beer, biggest tip I can give you. It's not going to give any great secrets. Is to put it in the mash. That's it. Put it in the mash, and that will give you a subtlety that you're looking for. Rather than boil. I'm not saying I didn't put it in the boil too. Maybe I did.
Maybe I did. Maybe I did.
Less is more.
I am not telling. I am just alluding. Right.
It's also worth pointing out. This is James's. So on the back of all of our beers, we have a tasting slider. So you'll go from so on the Citra on the left hand side, it's Jungle Warfare, all the way up to Tropical Paradise, and we like to put our little graphic equalizer on where it sits on that scale. And obviously, this beer is Fat Liz named it. Ride said Fred. Nice little pun there. And the slider on the left-hand side, sexy, all the way up to so sexy it hurts. That is James's officially.
That's my. They
Favourite.
chose the name. They handed over the artwork. I put the finishing touches with the slider on there. I take full responsibility for that one.
Just as long as nobody appears in fishnet vests next time I see you, or
social media.
That's our new summer special plans out of the window then.
Yeah, we need to have a talk to you about that, Melissa.
merch. Your next merch was going to be a fishnet vest.
Yeah.
Vest is only 10% vest.
Okay.
Right. What's next?
Rush Rider.
Rush Rider.
So some fancy artwork that you'd expect nothing less from Amundsen.
This is great because PJ de Villiers is a fantastic illustrator and he does all of Amundsen stuff, but he also does stuff for Mercedes-Benz and Vans, and I'm a big fan of Vans products. A big fan of Vans products. That's hard to say. So working with him and kind of going through the creative process with him was really great as well. It kind of really rounded the project off of having a illustrator of his caliber coming in and working with us on doing this absolutely bonkers design, which has got little peaches hidden in it and all kinds of stuff going on.
Excellent. Oh, that's really nice. That's really cool.
How do I get a print of this? This is cool. I love it.
I don't know. I'm sure we can. I'll drop him an email. I don't know.
I feel like I mean there is a definite element of do I have a pair of trainers? Right. So hang on, you have to make them sparkly somewhere though, because that's my midlife crisis. All my trainers henceforth shall be sparkly apart from running shoes. It's cheaper than an abortion and a divorce. So, okay. Oh, very different colour immediately. Yes. Totally different colour. That's interesting. So what have we got here, Johnny?
We have got a peach raspberry pastry sour.
We have a fruit salad in a glass.
Fruit salad in a glass, yes. And this was
the little sweet. The little sweeties. You used to get fruit salads and blackjack.
Yeah, used to stick in a blackjack and applejack all together.
Yeah.
Completely different, but it's just like from my perspective as well. I've always, my genuine personal intention with Big Drop was always to produce, as many different styles of beer as really was legitimately possible, because it was driven by this lack of choice. No, it wasn't just lack of quality, it was lack of choice, because actually 4 or 5 years ago there were very good German wheat beers, alcohol-free German wheat beers that were available, so that's great. And but there's Maiselweiss is really good. There's the Tap 24, I can never remember. Yeah, they are there, and I did like them. But if that's not what you like as a style, then you're like, well, and so for me, it was pale ales. I want where's my IPAs? Where's my pale ales? Where are my stouts and my dark beers? Didn't exist, so let's make them. Now this, and I'm always perfectly open about this. This is not a style of beer that I would normally drink, but plenty of people out there do enjoy them. Otherwise, they wouldn't exist. And so I feel like it's incumbent upon us to provide people with the choices and the options that they're looking for.
And Amundsen were really, they said straight away this was the style of beer that they really wanted to make, because actually it's a style of beer they sort of they're quite known for being one of the first in the world to make them, to really nail it, to actually do it well, which is difficult to do. Particularly to the ABVs that they do them, because otherwise you can just end up drinking just disgusting, sickly, sweet, horrible confections. Whereas actually they do some really intelligent things with some of them. And for me, this is just like drinking a Wham bar. Actually, I changed my mind. It's got all the tingly.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, it really gets you there.
Sometimes when you eat a chili and it's so hot, it actually makes you giggle, because it kind of hits the top of the back of your palate. you're just like, you know, as every orifice is leaking. But, it's got that kind of same tingly kind of like it sort of tickles you in at the top of the back of your palate, and it just makes you smile. It's that thing that you love about silly sweeties when you're a kid, and like super sherbets and super sours, and you're just like, oh my god, this is great, even though you know actually you've got no inside of your mouth left ever.
Yeah.
But it's got that same sort of fun tingly thing.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a happy beer.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Love it.
So was this the hardest one, Johnny? You were saying
the hardest one,
this was the hardest one. Okay.
The sour is always going to be tricky. From a yeast standpoint, I've tried using different bacteria and different yeasts and things to create it, and the pH just doesn't drop in many ways. So you're never going to get something similar to a wild ferment, unfortunately. But I think with the peach flavor in this and the combination of acids and things, it's kind of got this sort of peach marble yogurt flavor, and that yogurtiness is kind of what I was really trying to get out of the flavor, to get that sort of almost farmhouse in a way lacto flavor coming through. So yeah, and to retain a sweetness as well. But when you try and balance acidic and sweetness in this method, they usually just neutralize each other, and you just end up with this buffered mess which doesn't taste of anything, and it's all flabby and horrible. But yeah, I'm really happy with this one. It's just
we went through lots of conversations about food grade. You know, what can you use? Can you use that? Yeah, well, to be honest, if Coca-Cola can use it, why can't we? You know, all those sorts of things. It's significantly less calorific and significantly less sugary, by the way, people. You know, it is one of those things that you sometimes have to sort of play around, and actually it comes down to, you know, none of this is weird, none of this is unnatural. Everything in here is a product of or a byproduct potentially of natural fermentations, or so on and so forth, by bacteria or yeasts. It's just that they have to be used in a clever way in order to keep the alcohol down.
Yeah, that is. I hadn't seen that. I never worry about the calories. Some people seem to worry about calories a lot. 27 calories a can in this. I mean, that's insane, isn't it?
That's less than a hard seltzer, isn't it?
No, per can.
Yeah, I know, but it's less than a hard seltzer.
Oh, I see. Sorry. Yes. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Less than a can of Coke.
Ooh, other colas are available.
Yeah.
By quite some margin, I think you will find. A factor of, I don't know, I've got dyscalculia amounts.
Certainly less than an orange juice.
Yeah.
By far. No, I mean, that's the one that, again, a bit like you, Rob, I don't have actually, that's not true. If you give me pick and mix, I will eat it until I'm sick. I'm 45 years old and I will still do that. But I don't have much of a sweet tooth after. So, you know, people will say, oh my God, I had this amazing dessert in the restaurant the other evening. It's like, cool, how was the cheese board?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's more to the point is, how are the starters and how was the cheese board? What little bits they give you in between? I'm really much more interested and driven by savoury things, but that has actually genuinely put a smile on my face. It's definitely hit that sort of inner 3-year-old in me who spent 7 hours trying to eat a wham bar.
They were bigger back then as well, I swear.
Yeah. Well, actually, they genuinely were, but I mean, but also, you know, scale and all those sorts of things. Yeah. So, I mean, and Amazon were great. They were really invested in the concept of this style, and really came through with a lot of. I think they came through with a lot of ideas on the flavors. The flavors as well. So I think that's it's nice, and it's nice to work with a brewery who's renowned for a style as well, because that actually really gives you some insight as well. And they were very generous in such a pretty colour.
Would have liked to have been a bit more vibrant, but that is nice. That's a lovely peachy colour which goes with the flavours. So.
Yeah, it is a good.
This is why we don't let brewers out. And look at him. No, Johnny, concentrate on the video part of it. No, not what colour is my beer. I'm not happy with it.
I'm happy with it. It's just
Yeah.
I can improve. Brewer doesn't want to
Moving
improve.
on to the next one.
Yeah.
And the next beer, yes.
Oh, happy. Anyway,
It's great.
right. Here we go.
Weinstock.
Now, I had a filthy nail there. I was horrified for a moment. When you sent all of the samples to me, I tried them with some of my staff at my place in Borough, and there was actually nearly some fisticuffs over this one. So I think you can say you've got some fans in Southeast London for this one, that's for sure. Einstock, again, absolutely wonderful, really nice to deal with. Also, I think what's really interesting about Einstock and they're very open about it, and you're very open about it, Rob, is actually that they don't own a brewery. And it was nice to deal with another brewery that didn't. There can be a snobbery around contract brewing, no matter how carefully overseen and how carefully monitored. And it was nice to deal with a brewery that was also just like, yeah, we do the same. Totally cool. That's absolutely fine. So I think that was good, and I think that I do think that there should be some destigmatization around that for a number of reasons. Particularly at this point, people contract brewing is potentially going to keep some of your very favourite breweries alive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already hearing all sorts of horrifying rumours about various closures and so on and so forth, which is absolutely heartbreaking. But also, you should judge by actually what comes out the other end in a lot of ways, because that shows you how rigorous the actual process is, how it's overseen. If you judge immediately on the fact that somebody's contract brewing, then you really actually don't honestly know what you're talking about.
It just never made sense from my perspective, because I came into the beer industry from outside. I was like, okay, can somebody tell me why I have to build a brewery in order to get credentials and credibility? So, well, you have to own you got to own a brewery. And sorry, why? So, no, can somebody explain that to me again? Because if the beer that I sell you is good, why does that matter if I happen to own some stainless steel in which I mix some ingredients?
Yeah.
It works for some people. That's great. Don't knock those that take that particular route. But if this is an alternative, anyway, I won't bang on about that because we'll be here for half an hour.
We will. And that's the edited version.
Yeah.
Excuse me. That's another £100 knocked off the invoice, isn't it? Anyway, so obviously the most multi award-winning beer, to go back to James's comments earlier, is your milk stout.
Yep.
So obviously the stout, Johnny, is really that's a style you're known for. So I feel like this wouldn't have been as big a challenge, but still would have done, because coconut can be such a nightmare to work with.
Yeah, it's a real love-hate relationship people have with coconut. Once again, comes down to balance. And as for stouts, generally, I think I sort of have an affinity for making them. It's one of my favourite styles, just stout generally. I've been seen at bars quite happily double-fisted. Yeah, why not?
Oh no!
Imperial stouts.
Double parked.
Double parked.
Parked.
That's
the one. Double parked. Been watching too many YouTube videos.
The first time somebody said that to me in America, I threatened to knock them out, but that because I didn't really know the meaning of the phrase at that point.
I think I've picked that up from Canada, strangely enough.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say the same.
Apologies. Double parked with an imperial stout. So yeah, Happy days. I love my stouts.
Absolutely.
Flavor-wise, Bounty Bar, isn't it? Really. I mean, chocolate, coconut. I love it. I do it.
There is a toastiness in there, though. There is almost almost a sort of a toasted French oak note in there, which is really pleasant. It doesn't. Yeah. It's not a one-dimensional milk chocolate coconut. There's almost a toasted wood element that comes through. Did you use a toasted coconut flavouring or?
Coconut, actually toasted coconut.
Oh, you actually toasted the coconut. So this is one that you used. Obviously, of course, no fermentables.
No fermentables. Yeah, that's the joy of it. And yeah, it's. I think we had a little discussion quite early on about the type of coconut we should use.
Yeah.
And toasted was, I think that was your suggestion at the start, and we just went from there. Mm-hmm. And it's I've been nibbling on a bag of coconut since it arrived, I think.
Yeah. There goes another couple of pence of profits. Never mind.
Well, it's just dialing in my flavour, my palate in my head.
Locking it down.
Yeah, my flavour directory.
But yeah, I was really happy with this one because I'm not like coconut is not my flavor. Like Bounty Bars, no, don't like coconut. Full stop. But actually, I will drink this, and I'll drink this really happily. So I was really pleased that it's a good addition to our portfolio of great alcohol-free stouts. I was more than happy with this one.
I think the nice thing as well is, not only, as I said, Einstock were a joy to deal with, but you get there is I feel like the fat slightly rounds out. There is a slight fattiness in a good way, in a positive way, because obviously you would normally say, in fact, there is an element of slickness to it that you do almost feel like you've got that sort of middle of a Bounty Bar kind of bite.
It's that cocoa nib magic.
Yes, there we go.
I'm really happy with this one because the guys from Einstock actually said it's so similar to one of their full strength beers as well.
Right.
I can't remember what it's called. But,
yeah, I think they do a toasted coconut porter, don't they?
Yeah, that's it. I think they were really, when I sent the first set of samples over, they were like, "Oh, this is wow, okay, cool."
They're so super enthusiastic. It's just they were an absolute joy. It's just like, what where are we now? What's going on? What's happening next? We're all excited. It's really sweet. And also, of course, it's nice to it was nice to encompass so much of the Nordics. We did try to get everybody in. We were going to do a 6-pack. I couldn't get an answer from anybody in the Faroe Islands, I'm afraid.
If you're out there, Faroe Islands, we wanted you.
I know. Sorry, we wanted you, Faroe Islands. Nobody would respond. I had feelers out everywhere, but there we go. Such is life. You can't have everything you want. Guys, I've got to say the whole package looks fantastic. It's lovely to sort of pick up the whole box. You know who's in there. James done a beautiful job on that. All the cans look great. The process with the breweries was fun, engaging. I know at times frustrating as well because the world is just rubbish at the moment, and we're all so used to being able to sit down over a few pints and bat ideas back and forth and all that sort of stuff. But everybody really pulled through for this. And I'm going to put everybody on the spot. What's your favourite one, Rob?
It's the rye IPA.
Right.
Rye IPA, without a doubt. Yeah, that's bang up my street. That.
Yeah. James.
I was going to say rye IPA as well, but a very close second for me is Jessica's Elderflower IPA.
Johnny.
I'm not even going to answer.
You're asking me to choose between my children.
Sophie's choice, Melissa. Sophie's choice.
Oh, babies. No, love them all. Yeah.
Melissa, Oh, okay. He's going Amundsen. He's got. He's
I
gone.
don't know. I couldn't quite decide. I just think that the giggling that the push rider maybe does, it was always sorry, rush rider, sorry, is making me giggle. But that coconut stout is fantastic.
Well, there we go. Look, oh, that's good. We've got a nice even spread there. We've got a nice even.
It's really good, and anybody who knows me knows I won't bother being diplomatic. I will tell you if I liked one of the other ones better. So, guys, most importantly, when and where are these going to be available from?
So
James.
they will be live on Monday coming up, which is going to be the 18th, I believe.
18th.
They'll be available from our UK and EU store in boxes to start with. Then a few weeks later, we'll release them as individuals, so you can buy the 4-pack, choose the ones you like, and then when you've got through your 4-pack, you can come back to the store and order your favourites. And they'll also be available through a few other online outlets as well. We'll be taking a few cases from us as well. And it is a limited edition run, so we have brewed, and that is it. That is all we are brewing.
When they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah, we gig. And it's gone, it's gone. Also important probably to point out that this is, did you just have to sit there and work that out?
I was like, wigig? Yeah. Oh, right, okay. Like a bog off.
Yeah, I hate to worry people, but there appears to be a big burning ball of gas in the sky outside.
Unbelievable. Again.
Deary me.
I didn't bother closing that end blind because I didn't think anything happened. Right, but also most importantly, that obviously because you have had success with supermarkets, that this one is only available for indie retailers, isn't it? So you're trying to keep that balance going. Yeah. Supermarkets, but also making sure that those who supported you in the first place carry on getting products that people can't buy in the supermarkets.
Absolutely.
Cool. I'll tell you what, guys, I think we've probably run our course, and frankly, we don't want to bore people any more than we have to.
More than enough from us.
Exactly. Thank you very much for your time.
No problem at all.
Including me in the project.
Thanks, Melissa. It was great to have you back for round 2.
Exactly. Ding ding. So round 3. Where are we going?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Well, we are live in a number of other countries and indeed continents now. So who knows what the next 12 months will bring? Watch this space.
And whether we can travel.
Where do you want to go, Melissa?
Somewhere hot, please.
Somewhere hot. All right. Yeah, we can cover that off. That's fine.
Hot's possible.
Apart from the obvious hell to which I'm already going. So, anyway, on that note, in a puff of sulphur. Thank you very much for your time, guys. That's been absolutely brilliant.
No problem at all. Thank you very much. Take care, guys. Yes. Pinch in. Cheers.